All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday, January 20th. We got 9 games on the NBA slate. Here, we're going to jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean. We'll talk about the game. I'll give you what I'm thinking, but my final plays will live in the pinned comment, what I'm actually going to be rolling with tonight. If you guys want to ride with those picks or if you want to fade them. Last night, we're coming off of a 2-0 night, a little mini sweep there, and yeah, let's try to keep that momentum going into the weekend. We got 9 games on the slate, and the first one up is going to be Orlando hosting the Pelicans here. Orlando getting 1.5 points at home, total sitting at 228.5. I think it's going to be a very weird game. This Pelicans team, obviously still without Zion and Brandon Ingram, and they're losing games left and right. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. This Orlando team, same exact record, but for whatever reason, I do think that at home, you're getting points. I'm going to lean the way towards Orlando. I don't think this becomes a final play. I'm being completely honest. I think this is going to be kind of like a garbage game. So if you're crazy if you have a strong opinion about this game, but I'm also crazy at all times too, so it's all good. But I do think that the only thing that maybe has a chance of being a final play would be the under, but I don't even love that. So I'm going to lean Orlando in the under, but very slightly. All right, next game is going to be Cleveland hosting the Warriors here. Cleveland, 7.5 point favorites at home, total 226. The Warriors coming off an overtime loss last night to the Celtics here. That was a really good game. In their last 10 games, Warriors 6-4 against the spread. On the road, 3-1 against the spread. They even covered last night because they took that game to overtime. They only lost by 4. Cleveland here, 5-4-1 in their last 10 against spread. 2-1 at home in their last 3. You want to check the injury report today. Klay Thompson is out, probably because it's a back-to-back. Steph Curry just got back from injury, like a week or 2 ago, and now he's playing on a back-to-back. Keep an eye on the injury report. I could totally see Golden State just saying, you know what, yank them all out. We don't want to get injured here. Donovan Mitchell, also worth noting on the Cleveland side of things, questionable tonight as well. So this game's going to come down to injuries for me. If everyone plays, obviously Klay Thompson's out, but if Steph Curry plays, Donovan Mitchell plays, I'm going to lean Golden State. I just think it's a lot of points, but something about that line tells me that they do have some injuries. Barring some injuries right now, what that line is actually going to officially end at. But yeah, guys, I'm also going to like the over in this game just by a couple points. 226 is where it's sitting right now. I think this game could get to the 228, 229 range, so I'm going to lean that way, but very slightly. All right, we have Miami taking on Dallas here. Dallas at home getting 1.5. Total sitting really low at 219. I've even seen a 218 on a couple books, so I think most books are probably going to be moving in that direction. These two teams yet to play this season. In their last 10 games here, Dallas struggling. 2-8 against the spread. Miami has figured things out. 6-3-1 against the spread in their last 10 here. Last 6 away games there, 4-2. In terms of injuries, no major injuries for Miami. Dallas has a couple notables here. Christian Wood now out indefinitely with that thumb injury, hand injury. Tim Hardaway Jr. is questionable here tonight. But Miami playing decent basketball. Like we said, they're covering 6-3-1 in their last 10 against spread. They're 7-3 straight up here. They're playing good basketball, and like I said, on the road too. I do think that Miami is a team that can grind it down here and maybe take Luka out of this with their defense. So I'm going to lean Miami minus the 1.5 on the road, and also take a peek at that over. I think that this one could totally be a game in which both teams score, 110 plus, which would result in an over here. So I'm going to lean that way for this game. All right, next up, we're looking at Atlanta hosting the Knicks here. Atlanta 3-point favorites at home. Total 230 right now, but it is moving down. I've seen 228.5 on some books here. These two teams played the beginning of December last. New York took it to them 113-89. The Hawks were on the road. I think that's worth noting because they do not play very well on the road there, so I don't think that could be the reason for the blowout. But in their last 10 games, 6-4 against spread as for the Knicks, and the Atlanta Hawks here 5-5 against spread. This Knicks team playing well on the road. 4-0 I'm seeing now, just as I didn't see this earlier, but 4-0 against the spread on the road. 7-3 straight up in the last 10. I think they're playing some good basketball here. Trae Young's questionable. Bogdanovich is questionable. I think it's a Knicks all-day play. Give me Knicks plus the points. They've lost 2 straight. They should be hungry as well. And in terms of a total, we've been cashing Knicks overs, so it makes me want to say this is an over, but I don't know if I can trust a 230 plus, so we're going to stick away from the total in this game. Next up, we have the Spurs hosting the Clippers here. Spurs 7-point dogs on their own floor. Total sitting at 232.5. Last time these two teams played, mid-November, LA won 119-97, but they're not playing that well as of late. 0-4 in their last 4 away games against the spread, and the Spurs 4-2 in the last 6 at home here. In terms of injuries, looks like Paul George is back. John Wall is the only major, I guess, notable injury for the Clippers there. Devin Vassell's still out for the Spurs here, but this Spurs team actually playing decent against the spread in their last 10, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10. Like I said, at home, 4-2 for their last 6 as well. It's a big number. I think it might be a little crazy, but I'm leaning the Spurs plus the 7 points here. Might keep an eye on that to see if we can get a better number. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing move to 7.5 or something like that, but I'm gonna lean Spurs. Total-wise, this is a tough one, but I'm gonna go under. I don't know if that becomes a final play, though. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. Utah, 6.5 point favorites at home taking on the Nets. Nets obviously coming off the back-to-back totals right now at 229, but I've seen it at 230 here. These two teams they have not played this season. Utah 6-4 in their last 10 against the spread, and the Brooklyn Nets 3-7 against the spread, coming off of a loss where they were 3-point favorites, and outright loss last night to the Suns. Now, I do think Brooklyn probably comes and plays a little bit harder. You know, maybe they're mad if guys play. I could totally see them sitting guys out too, but I don't think that 6.5 points is enough for me to take their side. So reluctantly, and I'll be honest, it is reluctantly, I am going to lean towards the Jazz here, minus 6.5. I just think that that's too much of a number. So it's kind of tough to be like confident about it, because I don't think that that's a fair number. I think that a lot of people are probably going to be taking the Nets, barring any injuries again, but I'm going to lean Utah. I just can't trust this Nets right now, but I do want to give you sort of like a temperature gauge of where my confidence is in that. Not very high. In terms of a total, sitting at 229 right now. I don't hate the over, but I do think that that is also a questionable number. So this game all around kind of smells a little fishy to me. So I don't think that we're going to have those in the final place. Indiana taking on Denver here. Denver 32-13 straight up this season. Indiana 23-23. Denver 11 point favorites, excuse me. Total 240.5. This Indiana Pacers team was playing really well, and then Tyrese Halliburton got injured, and the wheels seemingly have fallen off. They've lost 5 straight games, while Denver is on a win streak right now, crushing it as of late. So I'm going to lean Denver minus the 11 points. I think that they can cover this. I was going to kind of say I don't really love this play either, but I do think Denver comes out here and plays good enough basketball. They've been on absolute fire as of late, so we're going to lean that way. And I also think this game stays around the 230 mark, so I'm going to go with the under in this game as well. Lakers getting 7 points here at home, total 242.5, which is a really, really high number, but both these teams, we've seen them do it already this season here, so we'll keep an eye on that total. If that moves today, I think we might pull the trigger on the under, but 242.5, for whatever reason, 243 points scored seems super doable. If that bumps to 243 or something like that at some point, maybe we look at the under, but it's a very, very slight lean as of right now. These two teams have played just about a week and a half ago. Memphis won 127-119. The Lakers are also home in that game here, and the Lakers have been pretty sporadic. This Memphis Grizzlies team is on an absolute roll. We know that about them, but this Lakers team's beating good teams, losing to bad teams. It's very, very weird, but I do think 7 points is a lot to ask for from the Grizzlies. LeBron James looks like he's going to play too. I'm going to lean the Lakers here plus the points, but again, I also have a slight lean towards the under, I would say, just because that does seem kind of high, and I can totally see that starting to get up there too as the day progresses, so we'll keep an eye on that line for sure. Last game we're jumping into is going to be the Kings taking on the Thunder. Kings 25-18 this season. Thunder 22-23 against the spread, though. They're 29-16. We know they're the rumbling, covering Thunder, but they're playing the covering Kings. Two teams that we have given nicknames to. These two teams yet to play this season. What team's going to cover? Kings 3.5 point favorites here at home, and I do like that number. I know the Thunder are the rumbling, covering Thunder, but they have won 4 straight games, as in 3 of those they were underdogs that they won outright. They must be riding high right now. The Kings 5 straight games. I think this is going to be a very good game. 241 seems like a high number. We might take a peek at the over, but I'm going to lean Kings here only because they are at home, and I think that's a doable number for them. OKC can keep it close. The Kings are just a little bit more talented outside of, obviously, best player, if you ask me. But guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.